Hello everybody and welcome to Instructional Design 601, Foundations in Instructional Design and Learning Technology. My name is Apostolos Kotropoulos. I'll be your instructor for the semester. Most people call me AK, so please feel free to call me AK. This short video is meant to give you an introduction about what we are doing in this course and a little bit about how you will be evaluated. So, what is this course about? Well, obviously it's about instructional design. But what is instructional design? If we look at the literature, one of the definitions is that instructional design incorporates known and verified learning strategies into instructional experiences which make the acquisition of knowledge and skill more efficient, effective, and appealing. Although, I personally like a more condensed definition, which was provided to me by an alumnus of our program. And when I asked him what is instructional design to him, how he would explain it to somebody, for him, instructional design was the art and science of being able to teach anything to anyone, which, when you think about it, is really powerful. If we look at instructional design, it's not a monolithic thing. And I take the cooking metaphor here. You've got a variety of ingredients that you put together in order to come out with a learning intervention. You have instructional design, which is a process which ties everything together. You've got various tools and technologies that you use to facilitate learning, and you've got various theories of learning and approaches that you use in your design in order to facilitate the acquisition of skills and knowledge. All those things work together. So why use instructional design? Can't I just go to class and just start talking and saying, here's what you guys need to know, without a plan, that is? Well, you use instructional design in order to better understand what you're trying to achieve with your learning intervention. You might know what you want, or you might think you know what you want to achieve in your class, but until you start breaking it down through a systematic process, you might notice that you're missing a lot of nuanced things. You use idea in order to understand how to get from there to here, or rather from here to there, and how you start with somebody who's a novice to somebody who is a master in the material. And you use instructional design in order to be able to articulate information to your various stakeholders, to your students, but also to any bosses or organizations that you're working for, because you need to be able to say, here's how much time it will take, here's how many resources it will take, here's approximately how much it would cost, or any other relevant information that is important to the organization or stakeholders. For this particular class, we have three different parts. We have the Dick and Carey instructional design model. There are other models out there which we will explore, but Dick and Carey breaks down the instructional design process in a way that's a little more granular, and it helps you appreciate the different parts of instructional design. There are learning theories in this course. This is really a boot camp in learning theories. You will get much more of this in Instructional Design 602, but you need a little bit in order to understand how what you're doing in your design really fits in with the learning theories that you need to employ in order to do your designs. And obviously, from the course title, you will be exploring different technologies in this course that facilitate learning. Now, there's much more about these technologies and for learning theories and other instructional design courses, but this is an intro course. You're not going to get everything in this course. So that was the course in a nutshell. We'll talk a little bit about getting around in Blackboard. If you're watching this video, you may have already figured most of this stuff out, but I'll tell you a little bit more, just in case. Getting Started has information for getting started with a course, including syllabus and this video. Communication is various modes and methods of communicating with me and your classmates, including announcements, discussions, Blackboard Collaborate, which is our synchronous tool, and messages. And support, in case you need technical support for the course. Throughout the semester, watch this space right here, my announcements and my messages. I usually send out 1 or 2 announcements every week just to make sure that you're on track, and if I need to reach you, I will use the messages tool. The Getting Started folder contains this video, the syllabus, a quick survey that I want you to fill out in order to give me a little more background on you. That way I understand where you're coming from with the discussions. A little more information about badges, which I'll talk briefly about in a moment, and the Q&A forum, among other things. And the weekly sessions is where we will have class each week, where the materials are. The thing to notice is that weekly sessions are sorted A to Z. So session 1 is always going to be on top, then as new sessions open up, 2, 3, 4, they'll be beneath in a sorted fashion. Usually at least a couple of weeks are open each time, even though we're only working at a week at a time. Just in case you want to work ahead. Once I get a sense of how your summers are looking, if you're going away for specific points, I might open up a couple of more weeks so that you can work ahead if you want to. That was Blackboard Communication. Very important motto, don't be a stranger. It's important to note that I'm available through the messages, through email, through Skype. If you know that something is coming up, let me know. Please don't just disappear from the course. If something's happening and you're either falling behind or you don't get something, I'd like to know. Course projects. Well, everybody wants to know how they will be graded. There are a few course projects, and for all of them, I've done the badges first approach. You're either passing or not passing. I've gotten rid of numerical grades because instructional design is an iterative process. You can always do something better, and I don't think that a numerical grade like 0 to 100 really hits that point home. So with badges, if you're familiar with Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, video games, when you do something and you achieve a certain skill, you get a badge to demonstrate that, and that's how this course is designed. If you pass an assignment, you earn a badge, and you know that you've earned a badge. Participation, you have check marks. You've got a check plus, and a check and an X. X means that you haven't earned any points. Check, it means that you've done an adequate job, and check plus, which could be rare, means that you've gone way above and beyond. I'll be talking more about grades specifically in another presentation, but for now, let's talk about the specifics. So readings and discussions count for 20%. I have the rubric here, which is based out of 10 points. If you get 8 points or more, you earn a check for the week. And I always have this printed out next to me when I'm reading your discussion forums, and I keep track of how you're doing in the forums. And I always recommend to students to print this out and have this available. ID explorations are group work. They're worth 40% of your grade. They're meant to be introductions to a specific topic, not an extensive thesis. And there are 3 subtopics: theories of learning, tools and modalities, and ID models. You can use any method of submitting a deliverable here. It can be a Word document as a paper, it can be a wiki, it can be a website, it can be a presentation like this. If you want to do it as an interpretive play, you can do that too. But it's meant to be short. At most 1,500 words, and if you're doing something like this, 15 minutes max. It's got to be properly cited, and there are other criteria there. But my goal for you is, and my hope is that you will maybe start off with something that you kind of know. Maybe a Word document or a paper is something that you know and you're feeling comfortable. And then as you do the other ID explorations, you will choose different tools to do these that you're not as familiar with, so that way you're not only learning about the tools, but you're also getting some practice in them. Feedback and reflection. Every week I have a quiz, because that was the best tool available for the time being, that asks you 4 questions. What was the most useful thing? What was the most confusing thing? What were some of the big aha moments? How much time did you spend for materials in this week? doing this class. Think about what you're doing. Be reflective about your practice and your learning. Just don't just say everything was good, nothing was confusing, I had no issues. If you had no issues, that's fine. But what were some big things that were aha to you? Are there things that stood out or different ways of doing things? Think about this. And you can either submit the quiz or you can do a blog every week. And if you want more information about blogs and blogging, do let me know. I think it's a wonderful tool for reflective feedback. And finally, you have a final project for this class. You are going to be plugging away at this final project throughout the semester, so it's not a one-shot at the end. You start in week 2 with a proposal, and the proposal is meant to be a place where we can work out the scope of your project. It's important to pick something that you can train somebody in 1 or 2 hours, regardless of modality, so that you're not stuck doing a gargantuan project this semester. We're focusing on the process and putting our knowledge to use rather than creating a big project that's going to take you 40 hours a week to do. We don't want to do that. If you do want to do a big project, that's good, but you shouldn't really feel weighed down, because 40 hours a week for a class is a lot. There's going to be peer review at the end. This is important for both you as a peer reviewer to be able to give good quality feedback to your peers. You also might be able to pick up some nuggets of information and tidbits that you can use in your own practice. And somebody who's reviewed, you're able to look at things through a different lens. And one last thing here about academic honesty. Academic dishonesty is easy to happen if you're not paying attention, but there are easy ways of preventing it. Always cite your sources. Even if what you're using might seem inconsequential, it's good to be safe rather than sorry. Please make sure that you familiarize yourself with the UMass Boston Academic Honesty documentation and the Student Code of Conduct. This is in the syllabus. It's important to keep ahead of this. So with that, that was the introduction to this course. Bit brief, but we'll be talking more throughout the semester. I look forward to working with you. Have a good day.